So, Aston Villa 1, Arsenal nil. Arsenal lose. And it means that the season is basically over. Disappointing. Very, very disappointing. Where do I even get started in terms of this game? Like, I don't understand who this team was that was playing, but this is not the team that beat Liverpool. This is not the team that beat Man City. And I perfectly understand that we need to rotate. I understand that, you know what, we don't have the strongest squad in terms of squad depth out there, but the starting 11 that we put out today, apart from the front three, I felt that, why wasn't Pepe starting, maybe even Reece Nelson, rather than having Lacazette or Eddie Nketiah out on the wings. But nevertheless, I got what Arteta was trying to do with the kind of a free-flowing front three. I did see that. But unacceptable. Completely unacceptable. First, I'm going to get into thoughts on player ratings. Then I'm also going to start talking about what does this look like for the end of the season. So, I got my ratings here. And let's start from the top. Martinez was in goal because it's going to continue as is. No sign of Bernd Leno returning, but for me in this game, I gave Martinez a 6. I thought he had a decent performance. Apart from the goal that he scored, didn't really do anything wrong. And I don't think that there's anything much that he could have done with the goal. And to be honest, based on these ratings, he's probably been one of the best players out on the pitch, because I've been highly disappointed in how the majority of the players played today. I mean, I'm expecting the effort, the drive. Where was the creativity? None of that. But Martinez, you did a decent job. Shame you conceded a goal, but nevertheless, you did a decent job. Then the game started with Luiz, Holden, and Kolasinac in defence. Now, in the first half, I know David Luiz came off later on in the game. But for me, I gave David Luiz a 6. I thought in the first half he was pretty good, trying to create lots of chances from that central defender role. Really doing a lot of the good things that he's been doing over the last several games with Arsenal. So, you expect David Luiz to be kind of a stalwart general within that midfield, and for the most part he was. I thought he had some good passes, won the ball a few times as well, but again, just not enough. But I gave him a 6. Was the goal his fault? No. But nevertheless, a decent performance. Then I put Rob Holden, who overall I'm gonna give a 5.5. I thought in the first half he was okay. I thought there were some moments that he should have been a little bit more in sync with David Luiz on to kind of get himself straight. But in the second half, I felt that he improved a lot. Had some good blocks, couple of good long ball passes, trying to do what David Luiz was doing. Near the end of the game, I know he was trying to really drive forward, trying to create something, but nothing much. But apart from that, a decent performance out of the game. Then there was Kolasinac. Now, in the first half, I thought Kolasinac was average. I would have given him a 5 in the first half. But in the second half, I thought he did reasonably well. I know he had a couple of bad passes in the second half, but he intercepted the ball a couple of times, held the ball pretty well. There was a few good tackles, and even had some good tactical fouls as well. So I'm going to give Kolasinac overall a 6. I thought he played decent overall. Again, nothing really kind of just shines out there to give a 7 or above, but I thought he had a pretty decent performance overall. And then let's get to the fullbacks. So we had in the first half Saka. And for me, I gave Saka a 5. For me, I think this is probably one of Saka's worst performances. Just nothing there. And maybe that was to do with Aston Villa kind of nulling Saka. But I just did not see enough from Saka to say, yeah, he deserves a higher mark, or you know what, Saka had a great game. You might disagree. Leave your comments below if you disagree with that. But I thought Saka's game today was absolutely bang average, and I do have to say I was quite disappointed in him, just because him and Tierney, who I'll talk about later on, for me have always been 7 out of 10 performance type of players. And he just wasn't that way in this game. So I've got to give him a 5 in this game. And then I know that later on, Tierney came in for him. I gave Tierney a 5. I felt that he was completely ineffective in the game. Just could not do really anything. And it's a quite shame. And again, that just showed on how well defensively Aston Villa played it in this game, to be able to nullify our fullbacks, which is the kind of key to our creativity though within this game. And now going back to probably the worst player on the pitch, by far has to be Cedric. Really disappointed with Cedric. Several times he had really bad blocks, bad crosses. I mean, he was caught out with not tracking Grealish as well. And then for the goal that Aston Villa scored, now people might say, oh, the ball spin and all of this stupidness, but when that pass is coming out, he should be getting his body on the line, getting ready to take it in the chest, in the face, something to physically get a block on it. But he does nothing. This is by far the worst performance I've seen from Cedric. Then going forward, how many times did Aston Villa deal with the crosses that were coming in on that right side? Almost all of the times. I can't remember hardly any passes or crosses that Cedric made that actually got to our attackers. It's so disappointing. I'm so disappointing from Cedric. Like, it wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough in today's game, and just really frustrating. You know, it's a sad end to the season, but for me, I gotta give Cedric a 3 in this game. First half, Lucas Torreira, it was good to see him start the game, and as quick as he came on is as quick as he came off, because he was only in the game for the first 45 minutes. Lost quite a few tackles, received up a lot of fouls, late on tackles. Did get a few kind of interceptions that I thought were pretty well, but a few kind of interceptions that were late. I gave him a 4 just because it just wasn't the right system for him. And to be honest, I think Aston Villa just read him pretty well in this game. And every single time he wanted to try to do something on it that was positively defensive, he just kept getting caught out, and I felt that this just wasn't the right game for him. And to be honest, it's probably not the right formation for him as well. So for me, I'm going to give him a 4. And his substitute was Granit Xhaka, who came on at halftime. I gave him a 5. I thought he had a decent performance in the game. We definitely needed him more rather than Lucas Torreira, just because Xhaka, as like myself, I criticize him all the time. I think that Xhaka does contribute defensively, but also contributes on the attacking side as well, which is why Torreira had to come off, especially since Torreira had a yellow card as well, which is even more reason why I gave him a 4 on top of that. Then there was Ceballos. Now, Ceballos, he had some good dribbling. He had some good passing. But this was the game that was there for Dani Ceballos really to grab the game by the scruff of the neck and to really make it happen. And I know he was doing a lot of 1-2 passing with lots of players that were around him. but it just didn't work out in his favor, I would say. And for me, I have to give Dani Ceballos a 5 because of that. I felt that, maybe the type of position that we have going forward just isn't his game. Maybe maybe his best position is central midfield, and maybe he just isn't that great going forward looking to attack. Maybe he needs to have that shared responsibility rather than him solely being focused on going forward and attacking. Because in the first half, that's why you had a Lucas Torreira who was going to do more of the defensive side to allow Dani Ceballos to then go do more of the creative attacking side. However, that wasn't to be the case, and we end up with a 1-0 loss. So for me, I got to give Dani Ceballos a 5. And then goes to the front three: Aubameyang, Lacazette, Eddie Nketiah. Aubameyang and Lacazette, I both gave a 5. And even though they worked hard, even though they tracked back, and even though they had good movement on and off the ball, nothing was coming from midfield. Nothing was there. You could tell there were times where Lacazette was calling for the ball. Balls weren't coming to him. They were going more out wide. And it became so easy for them to play against us. I know there were a few kind of misplaced crosses from Aubameyang that maybe he should have done a bit better. But just disappointing. I felt that generally when you have this amount of quality strikers, you expect more. You really do expect more. And that's why I have to give both him and Aubameyang and Lacazette 5s. The best forward is Eddie Nketiah, just for one reason and one reason only, is because he had I think the only shot on target, and that's because of a header, and he was really unlucky not to score the goal. Again, like Aubameyang and like Lacazette, I felt that he did play well, he did track back, he did work hard, and he did try to do things for the team. Unfortunately, it just wasn't his day to kind of put that chance away, and unfortunately, we're in this position right now. Now, I know there was also, I think Joe Willock came on, obviously Pepe, who I also gave a 5. He was another ineffective one, Mr. One-Footed 2.0. And it just wasn't Arsenal's day. And right now, the best that we could finish is 8th. The only thing we have looking forward to now is FA Cup final against Chelsea. Any chance of playing European football in the Europa League is riding on that game. And now we're in the exact same position that we were in at last season under Unai Emery, going in to face Chelsea. And I just have to hope and pray. I pray that this Arsenal side could do something that we need, because whether you like it or not, we're going to need European football financially. For me, I believe that we're going to need European football for the development of a lot of the players that we have, giving them the game time, giving us the opportunity to get back into the Champions League, because I think it's going to be incredibly hard for us to be able to do that via the league. I do not think that this team is good enough to be able to do that. There are too many holes in this side to do something like that, and I do hope Arteta gets the backing. However, I do agree with Robin van Persie in his recent interview that I do think that Arsenal need to take their time and find the right players and not just splash the cash for the sake of it. But it's a really disappointing game, a really disappointing result. We have nothing left in the league to play for, and our last game against Watford is really just about pride. So let's focus on the FA Cup, and we just got to hope that we're able to get the win. So one thing I will say is thank you guys for watching the video. Please continue to subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Peace.